Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone, and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. But that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow!
Hello, welcome to Retro Fandango.
Can we talk over that intro?
You can talk, but no one will hear you.
Okay. I never tried. I wasn't sure if anyone would hear me.
What episode is this? This is 207, isn't it?
I thought it was 206.
We did 206 the last time. This time we're going with 207. I'm a little salty. I'm
okay,
tired.
I think it was 206 last time, but
Yes.
but on the outline it said 205.
Wow.
That's why I went back and changed it to 206.
Oh, I always check on YouTube because that seems to be the reliable source. These outlines they can be tricky.
Well, it's
Yeah. Check
it's not
out
like anybody's keeping careful track here.
Check out the Cartridge Club this month of June 2022. They're playing Fallout 3.
Is that a PC game or is that a
It
console?
It is came out on PC, 360, and Xbox 360.
Okay, that's the one that was the first, first or third person shooter, as opposed to the top down.
Yeah.
Point and clicky PC style. Okay.
And then I believe versions came out on the Xbox One and Xbox or PlayStation 4.
So why is that's not considered a cool time frame for gaming right now? Is it? Because that's like that game is what, 10 years old, 15 years old?
Yeah. So
right?
You're saying
it's in that zone where like the retro people don't consider it retro, and the modern people say, "Oh, that game's old." It's like there's that weird gray zone where it's not cool to play. Like if you were to play a PlayStation 4 game right now, wouldn't people just like, "Oh, why aren't you playing PlayStation 5? Why aren't you playing the Super Nintendo?"
Right. Like the Wii is in that category still.
Yeah.
I think. But you give it 5 years and people
then everyone loves it again.
Yeah. It's kind of like the GameCube. The GameCube just keeps growing and growing and growing.
What is Sarah poking at here? Tried grooves is now tired grooves?
Because I can't spell and I'm too tired to spell correctly.
I see it. Yeah. I see it.
I spelled my name wrong. I didn't care.
Okay. Well, you tried.
There you go. See? I did try. I just worked a 12-hour shift. Well, sort of. It was a 10-hour shift, but if you had the commuting and stuff, and then I had to go into Scabo to pick up a part for our washer because I ordered this part. Our washing machine broke down.
Okay, hang on. But what did you say? Scrabo?
So the place is called Scarborough, right?
Scarborough. Okay, because I was going to ask, is that the name of the store or the city?
No, it's like a suburb of Toronto, but we live in. This is probably bad. I'm probably racist for this. That's okay, but we live in like an Asian area, like we're kind of north of the Asian area, and everybody there calls it Scabo. They call it Scabo. They don't call it Scarborough. They call it Scabo. So that's my thing. I call it Scabo too. I want to be with them.
There's nothing wrong with dialect.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of them. I want to be part of them. I want to be part of the
I only learned about my accent after I moved away. Because apparently where I grow up, people don't pronounce their T's and D's when they're at the end of a sentence.
I had a question about New Jersey, and I can't remember what it was. We heard something was it about the food or something?
Usually the most common question is, do people really say Joyzy?
No, that was only Joe Piscopo. I'm from Jersey, you're from Jersey. That was this SNL skit. There was something though. I can't remember what it was. Oh well.
Wow.
I'll talk about my washer in a second. Beat the Bandy challenge this month is Berserk on the Atari 2600. I gave it the old college try, and I went in there a few times, and my score kept going up and up and up. But I said, you know what? I think I'm going to try to get to 10,000. And then Duke immediately posts like his first attempt was 12,000 points. I'm like, yeah, okay, forget this. I'm going off to do something else.
I've never really put much time into that game. It's one of those ones, like I don't have a physical copy. I've just messed around with it on emulation, and it's like, okay, I can see the appeal, but yeah, I didn't put in the time to get good. I am curious to give it a shot, though.
I remember what it was. Bagels. Apparently, bagels in New Jersey are to die for. Got nothing. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this: every bagel that I've had in Japan does not compare to a bagel in Jersey.
Right.
I would say compared to the U.S. It's one of those things where people say it's something about the water.
Yeah.
That the New York City area, the pizza, the bagels, there's something in the water that just has an effect.
Yeah.
And
see, but that's probably like New Jersey bagels are probably just normal to you, but to anyone from outside of New Jersey, it's a delicacy.
Maybe, yeah. I'd have to visit a different place once in a while.
Because when we were in Chicago, we just got pizza. It was deep dish Chicago, but it's just pizza there. It's just pizza. And okay, one last thing. The Tenacious D show happened last week. Go check that out on the LaBrain Train YouTube channel. It's really fun. We did our top 11 Tenacious D songs. It was good times.
How many albums did they put out?
Technically 4.
Technically four.
But they also had an HBO series ahead of that where a lot of songs that they created for that didn't make it on. A lot of them did make it on albums, but a lot of them didn't. And then there's a lot of songs that they play live and that. So they have a much bigger library than just what's on those 4 albums. But I'll tell you, the last album that they put up, not spoiler alert, nobody picked a song from that album.
Was that after Jack Black, really got busy with his acting career?
No. This came. The last album they did was Post Apocalypto, which came out a couple of years ago, and it was just off the rails, even more so for Tenacious D.
Well, that's what I mean. It's after Jack Black became famous for other things.
Oh yeah. But it wasn't like,
and it was like a return to the music.
No. See, he was famous and doing the music at the same time. So there is plenty of material while he was doing both that are just fun.
Okay.
So it's not like as if he became famous and then all of a sudden just started. No, this was like, I don't know. It just didn't work. They tried to do like a whole series of YouTube videos and then take songs from those YouTube videos and put them into this album. And the songs sort of work in the YouTube video. When you're watching, it's all like animated and everything. And you're like, okay, I get it. But it doesn't work as an album. It just doesn't. It's not very good, unfortunately. But the 3 that before that, fantastic. All good stuff. I think that's it for the thing. Okay, so I was talking about my washer. So my washer busted last week.
Did you put too much in it again?
See, that's a funny thing, right? We were just talking about that. I told Sarah, like, I think I busted it. I can't do any laundry. But no, it's been acting up for a while. It actually, in hindsight, when we first got it, it wasn't operating properly because it would make this big booming noise. Like you put stuff in it would run really rough and boom, 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 and like.
So the one where it gets like off balance and it starts slamming into the side.
Yeah. And then we balanced it, but then it would still like run like really rough, and I'm like, this doesn't seem right to me. But Sarah was like, no, it's fine. That's how the modern ones do it and everything. I'm like, okay. And it turns out that the thing has what they call, it's either a gear case or a transmission, depending on where you are. But basically, it's the entire device that spins the agitator, which spins the water in your clothes and all that stuff. So I had a bad one in there because when I looked underneath, on the floor, it was damp, but it wasn't water. It was like this greasy substance, right? And then I flipped it up underneath, and I looked underneath, and there was this cover under it, and it was just all full of this grease, and there's fluid inside of this transmission, and it all just was leaking out. It was a bad transmission, and we've had it for 3.5 years, and it finally just, I don't know, conked out. So
that seems like a short lifespan for a washer.
Yeah, it is. Well, it had a bad part in it right off the bat, and
is it still under warranty?
Well, here's the thing. No, of course not. And here's the other thing too: is we were debating like to get a new one or to fix this one, and we went around. Sarah was kind of like going back and forth. She's never liked the washer. I think she's never liked it because it's never run properly.
So you're saying she sabotaged it?
No. There was a legit problem with it, but it's never run properly. I think that's why she doesn't like it. I think maybe once we fix it, maybe it'll run better and maybe she'll like it. I don't know, but she was kind of going back and forth on getting a new one, and she found one at Home Depot, and she almost bought it. And I said to her, before you buy it, find out about their return policy. What is their return policy? And because standard is 30 days. She asked them what's their return policy. Like, oh no, these washers are special order. We do not offer any sort of return. And I'm like,
special order.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's a red flag. Back away. Get out of there. Tell them no. You get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes home, and we start looking around on the internet, and sure enough, nobody offers a return policy anymore.
Really?
It's all like, no, any of these washers, this is special order. You can't return these. And they are under warranty underneath the manufacturer, but good luck in getting, the manufacturer to fix anything. So,
well, it's kind of like you buy an iPhone or something, and you can't return it to the store, right? You got to go straight to Apple.
Yeah. But I mean, you spend like over $1,000 on this stupid thing,
like,
and you can't take it back.
Is this thing full of like all sort of state-of-the-art sensors and things like that?
Unfortunately,
smart technology washers.
That is all you can buy today. You cannot buy. We even toyed with the idea of getting an old washer that's just a dial, like we used to have before this one.
I love those.
Yeah, well, because it's just simple, right? You just fill it through, and everything in it's mechanical and all that. But unfortunately, today, with the way things are with water conservation and don't use too much water, they've all regulated these washing machines to have sensors in them, so they only fill up so much. And you cannot buy a washer today without it.
They saw an opportunity there to jump into that Apple market of, hey, people are buying a new phone every 2-3 years, maybe washers.
And it's all get in on this obsolescence. It's ridiculous.
That is some bottle you're chugging on there.
Thank you.
Look at that.
I have to compensate,
Oh man, the viewers are getting a real treat. If you're listening to this, you gotta check out the replay.
Got a time code 14 minutes. There you go.
You got to get with Chris Roberts, hit some of those flea markets. I'm sure you can find a vintage washing machine out at one of those flea markets.
Well, the thing with that is like, I don't know how much you can't wait with a washer, right? You can't be dicking around. No. If you do, you're at the laundromat all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And how much are these washers used? You never know. So maybe we would start looking for one now, but we came to the decision to fix it. So I ordered a part online because you can't just go to the store and buy it. You have to order it, and there's an actual physical store. They have a physical store. On my way home, I have to drive through the town of Scarborough. See, I can't even say it. Scarborough. It's just easier to say. I don't blame them. Say it that way. Anyways, I go through. I have to go through the town and everything, and I'm like, that's okay, because on my way home from work, I can just go and pick it up. And of course, they wait to call me on the day that I got to work 10 hours, and it's a Friday, and it takes forever to get home. But I got to get this thing, or I'm driving back tomorrow. I got to drive all the way back down there to get it, and they don't open until 10 or 11. So I wouldn't get the thing home until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And
yeah, what is up with that? A lot of stores now, I've noticed, open like 10 or 11 in the morning. What happened at 9 o'clock?
I don't know. Nobody gets up anymore and does things.
There's so many stores around here, like clothes stores and stuff. I have a morning off. I feel like, oh, all right, I'll go out there. Oh, they don't open until 11.
Some place, like on Sundays, a lot of places don't open until noon.
Do you have in Jersey? Some areas had these things called blue laws, where stores were just closed on Sunday because that was church day.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was I grew up in Sudbury, Ontario, and you would get the flyers from Future Shop, which was like a Best Buy or something like that, and they would say in the flyer, sale starts on Sunday except for Sudbury and Quebec, because we were the two areas that were too religious to open up on a Sunday. Or there would be a sale on a religious holiday like Easter or something like that. Open everywhere except for Sudbury and Quebec.
Except for you.
Yeah.
That's what I should say.
You got to drive to North Bay, an hour away, if you want to get in on this deal. It's ridiculous, I tell you.
You need to get yourself a good rock. Head down to the river with your laundry. One of those old file.
We got one.
Scrubbing boards.
Yeah, we got a rock picked out at the creek, and if this washer doesn't work out, then. But I gotta say, whoever created YouTube, I mean, they knew what they were doing, because I would not be able to fix this washer without YouTube. There's somebody on YouTube that has the exact same washer, and he takes it all apart, because everything for this transmission, like every part of the washing machine, is connected to this thing. You have to take it all apart. It's all in a box right now. The entire washing machine is in a box right now, in the next room. And then you got to get the transmission out and then patch everything back to it and build it all back up from scratch. It's crazy. But just follow what this guy's doing on YouTube, and boom.
If you have a particular skill, especially in some sort of repair work, and you put that stuff on YouTube, there's 1,000 people that are going to jump right on top.
That's what most people go to YouTube for, man. How to.
Exactly. Yeah. Duke should really transition his business.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Instead of making all he kind of did it with the TV video, but bring that Duke's Electric to YouTube. This is how you do this in your house.
Absolutely. If you
want, I guess he doesn't want to advertise that to his customers, though.
Now, you do have to have. No, I'm not saying Duke doesn't have these things, but you do have to have a little bit of a personality and a little bit of skills with the camera, because I don't know how many how-to videos I've clicked on, and it's a guy in a dark room. You can hardly see anything, and he's trying to shoot the video with the phone in the hand, and he's like, this is really hard to do with one hand. I'm like, yeah, you want to put the camera down on something. Anyways, so there you go. And then on top of that, while that was all happening, we got another mouse in the house. Friggin' mouse got into the house.
You live in the country or something? How do you get all these mice?
Well, I put out, I think it's because of the grass seed that I put out. And
okay.
That
you just threw a bunch of mouse food in the front yard.
Pretty much, right? And they'll try to look for a place to hang out while close to a food source, right? So one got up, and so we were sitting there, we're watching the Orville, and I hear all this scratching in the ceiling. We were in the basement here, and I hear this scratching. I'm like, what the hell is that? Is that there was a storm? So I'm like, is the rain hitting the siding weird or something? And I go outside and it's not raining, and I'm like, what's going on? And I found a little piece of insulation on the ground by the front door. And then I go and I look up underneath the siding, and I could see a hole right there. And I'm like, oh, that's where he got up and in. So we sat and finished watching the Orville with the mouse up in the ceiling, and then I waited until it got dark, and it was really quiet. Turned everything off, and I didn't hear anything. So I'm like, okay, he's probably gone out to get the food, right? So it's a good time now to seal up the hole. So I seal everything up, and then I go all the way down the house, underneath the siding to seal all that up. So there's no way he gets back in. Come back into the house, and then of course you start hearing him scratch around in there. It's like, oh crap, he's trapped in there now. And you can't get to him. He is like, it's all a finished basement. The only access you have is through the furnace room, but it's all floor joists that go right down to below the wall. So he's stuck in there and he can't get out. And so we just had to let him die I put like some mouse traps there just in case he gets through somehow or whatever. Then I threw some mothballs to make sure that he goes like towards the mouse trap and not not anywhere else in the house. But after a few days, he just kept getting slower and slower with the scratching, and then eventually he just died up there. So got a dead mouse up there somewhere. Can't wait for that to start smelling.
Before that, you're going to start hearing that little like scratching the floor at night. It'll be the telltale mouse.
Well, I think he got trapped in there like already. I think he kind of fell in.
Oh, mice don't get trapped. They make their own entrances and exits. Well, I'm surprised he didn't scratch his way out, because the way they chew and scratch and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, chances are he did.
Yeah.
He probably just escaped somewhere, and then it'll come back when he's ready.
Well, no, because I heard like it got like a lot less, right? Like I was waiting for it. Like if he comes in and he's all still like hyper and stuff, then you know that he's getting in and out somehow, right? So, but it was like by the last day, it was like just a little bit for like a few minutes, and then it was gone. Like he's dead. Rest in peace.
You need to get yourself a cat.
Yeah, maybe. We thought about it.
If you can deal with a cat, then they'll sniff them out.
Yeah.
My cat, when I was growing up, she was brutal with the mice. Whenever we get one in the house, we just wake up, walk downstairs, and there'd be mouse parts strewn across the floor.
Oh man,
it was gross. Like she ripped them to shreds, and she just sat there in the middle of it, smiling away,
all proud. Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. We thought about it, but I don't know. Anyways, I sealed it up, so not another one's not coming in for now. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Well, are we supposed to mention this message from
right,
regarding the August Patreon for the Cartridge Club?
Good call.
Which I have some questions, because I don't know what one of these games is.
Okay.
So apparently there was a three-way tie for the August pick for the Cartridge Club between Punch-Out, Hades, and Mario 1.
Yeah.
Now I'm assuming Mario 1 is Super Mario Brothers.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Punch-Out, I'm assuming, is the NES Punch-Out.
That was my nomination.
Yeah, or is that Punch-Out on the Wii, which is known as Punch-Out?
No, I was my nomination, and in the Patreon thing it says Mike Tyson's / Mr. Dream Punch-Out.
Okay, well I don't even know what this Hades game is. Is that a Nintendo game?
No, well I think it's on the Switch, but it's on everything else. It's like an isometric RPG. I think it's like a hack and slash. I'm not sure if it's like Diablo. But you kind of play with the controller. I don't know. It's like an independent.
Can I just make this easy? Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is the winner.
Yeah, I mean that was my pick. That's what
it's the best game out of those three. I don't even know what Hades is, but it's the best game.
Well, I do really like Super Mario Brothers, but I agree, Punch-Out is the better game, and I think that the Cartridge Club has done enough Mario games where they've done 0 Punch-Out games.
What are you going to say about Super Mario Brothers? Get the mushroom, climb the vine. Everybody's played every single level. This is not a missed out game.
Maybe they'll find something new that no one's ever found before.
Oh, did you know that if you go here, you get the warp zone? Go on top of the level?
Yeah. Well, those warp zones were a big deal back then.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is a fantastic game, and I've still never beaten it.
No, and I thought
that Soda Popinski.
Yeah, I thought that would be a great opportunity to focus on that game and try to get.
Yeah, I'd wager that the majority of people who have played that game have not beaten it, even if you've played it multiple times. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who have. But then even when you finish, it's very difficult to knock out Mike Tyson. For what I hear is you can win by points default, get like a decision or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, then what was that guy that was on the Banksy? Was it not Banksy? Something on the Angry Video Game Nerd channel. There was that guy that he was really good at games, and he beat that.
Oh, Mike Matei?
Oh, maybe it was Mike. Maybe it was Mike who beat that right away. By the way, he's not on that channel anymore, right? He left the Angry Video Game.
I haven't really kept up with that channel because I haven't watched an Angry Video Game Nerd thing in a long time. But yes, I understand. That is what I understand now. He did leave that channel because it seems like that channel is kind of a little dead in the water.
Yeah.
I know he got attacked for saying he likes difficult games a couple of years ago, and everybody overreacted. Maybe he left because of that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I actually went on a deep dive on it, unintentionally, because I did hear that Mike was off the channel. I'm like, oh, what's that about? I didn't know that. And then because I can't remember how I got there. This was a while ago, but then I stumbled on this video, and it was an hour long, and it was just an hour-long breakdown of why the Angry Video Game Nerd now sucks.
I think I've seen that video, the thumbnail.
I
remember seeing something like that. I never clicked on it.
Well, I saw it. I'm like, that's an hour. I'm not going to watch it all. And then I ended up watching it all because it was fascinating. Because I have not watched that channel other than a few videos once in a while. I watched him do the Commodore 64 one whenever that came out. But it did, when I watched the Commodore 64 one, it did seem a little bit off. It didn't seem like I said at the time, I'm like, he doesn't seem as if he really understands that a lot of these games were not big releases. They were just made by people in their basement. They would just put out games and not even necessarily charge money for them. Right. They would just be out there to make copies of and stuff. And that level of research just didn't seem to be there. Well, it turns out that his channel was kind of taken over by one of those, those conglomerate. YouTube
he's
things.
Been involved with a couple different partnerships in the past.
Yeah.
And early on, I think, he still had full creative control and everything. I know that when if I look at any of the videos now, I checked out a lot of the reviews and stuff, which I think are still, a few years old now at this point. It looked like he was aping the Red Letter Media format. And there's all this advertisement. Every episode is just product placement, advertisement read. And he's got 3 or 4 other guys on there that are just terrible personalities, terrible actors, terrible hosts.
Well, those people those guys are not they're part of this partnership
the conglomerate
thing, right? And they're not his friends. He doesn't really know them. Whereas Mike and who's that other guy? That guy, he wore that cap and he could play Battletoads. It wasn't Banks. He was
I
like,
think I had stopped watching by the time he was in those board things.
Some of those, those two guys were his friends, right? Whereas these other guys were just like, so like they would sit there and they would talk about, like I remember watching one where they're talking about Star Trek V, and they all hated Star Trek V except for James. James was like, I kind of like the fact that Star Trek V exists because it's kind of like this weird meta thing, right? Like he was talking about like the cardboard cutout, for instance, where it's William Shatner dressed as Captain Kirk holding the VHS of Star Trek V. And it's like, it doesn't make sense that Captain Kirk's holding the VHS.
Right.
It wouldn't be a movie in Captain Kirk's world. It's just like, it's a weird thing.
It's like Spaceballs.
Yeah, totally. And by the end of it, they were just kind of like agreeing with James. Like at the beginning of the video, they all hated it. And then at the end, yeah, we all like it now. It's like, this is really weird, but that's because like they don't know each other, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know if I would say they don't know each other. They're not friends, whatever. But it sounds like they were coworkers first.
Yeah,
and then just became friendly. Whereas the early days, it was him and his friends just working together doing stuff.
Well, and he would write. James would write all the scripts and all that. Apparently, like he got away from doing all that. They were writing scripts for him, and then
I know he got in trouble. Maybe recently, maybe last year, for one of his what's that thing he does? The movie Monster Madness.
Yeah,
and that something in the script was plagiarized.
Yeah,
and he read it, and it's like, how can you not know that? It's like, because somebody else just wrote it for him.
Pretty much,
he just reads it now. So he's basically sold out. He's just part of the machine of.
Yeah.
I mean, he created a very, very popular brand with that AVGN character, and somebody bought it, and this is what they did with it, I guess.
Well, and then he's got the Vanity Project as well, where he plays guitar with this band that they're not very good, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, the guy got really lucky with his videos, and he had something very unique and distinct there. But I guess, I mean, you can't really blame him. It's a way of, he has a career doing something that he created from scratch. Whether it's, him in control, somebody else in control now, who knows, that kind of thing. But I don't know, to be able to say, hey, I made this and I'm making money off of it. It just hit that point of oversaturation. Probably a lot of people don't care about the character anymore. You've completely run out of games that you can make these videos about. And now you're just like digging, like what obscure thing can I say is garbage now? So,
yeah. I don't. He could have. I don't know. A lot of the stuff that he was doing, I thought was okay. Like where him and Mike would just sit there and play a game on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
That was fine. Board James thing, that was fine too. It was
a lot of the like, he tried to do things other than just the angry video game nerd.
Yeah, and I thought
a lot of the characters he came up with, there were some really, really good ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that stuff was fine, and I'd watch it once in a while. Like the let's plays that he would do with Mike, they were a little long. Like they'd get over 2 hours or whatever, and it'd be a game I just didn't care about or whatever. I'd watch them sometimes, but for the most part, but I thought that was kind of like, it fell into his branding and stuff like that. But really, like a lot of the movie reviews and stuff like that, like he did, like, I don't know. A lot of it just seems like a little bit off. Like he's being coerced to do things, and I don't know.
And some of the older ones, I saw some of those Monster Madness reviews, and a lot of the older ones, when it's him, because he never comes across as that smart or knowledgeable a guy. He just has that way of saying things and kind of a likability about him where he'll make some stupid comments, and it's like you chuckle at it and like, great. Whenever he seems to discuss movies as a filmmaker, you realize he doesn't know a whole lot, and and you kind of see it if you've ever. I'm guessing you still haven't watched his movie, The Angry Video Game.
I still haven't seen it.
Movie.
No.
It like when you take apart, like he was making YouTube videos and says, I want to be a filmmaker, I want to be a filmmaker. And then he made a movie and it's like, oh man, you really don't know a whole lot about what it means to make a film, which is strange because he nailed the formula for those little cheap internet videos.
Yeah.
He had it kind of perfect.
Well, there was a bit of charm to it too, right? And if you threw too much money into it, it's almost like as if you're trying too hard, like it's funny when, Mike shows up in a Bugs Bunny outfit that it's just really bad. But if you made that Bugs Bunny outfit look really good, the whole charm of that, whatever they were doing, it just wouldn't be the same,
It had its moment, and at the moment he was pretty much the king of the internet, back in the late 2000s, whatever it was,
Yeah. Sarah and I were just talking about that, how like in early YouTube, like they would put like a channel or a video on their main page that everyone went to when you clicked on YouTube. And that's how like a lot of people got their start early on, right?
Yeah.
It was just they click on that main page. They don't have that anymore. Now you go to it and it's all videos tailored to your viewing habits.
Right. And yeah, I mean, if anything, he changed with the YouTube program where it was, hey, popular videos, that's what's making money. People are watching this thing, and now everything's corporate. Everything is, YouTube is a business. Every channel on there has this extremely high production value. There's this big, billion-dollar company that's producing cheap YouTube videos. And they got the whole script writing department. They got the hosts. They got all the camera crews. I don't know.
I kind of feel too that people go to YouTube for the one-on-one, with a lot of people. I mean, a lot of it now, just it is like corporate stuff and that. And I guess people watch that too. But I think the one-on-one interaction with like one person's point of view, not like a committee's point of view, but one person's point of view on something, or one person's passion about something, or I think most people still look at YouTube for that more than what our opinion is of the new Batman movie. You just want to find out what so and so, some YouTube guy like.
It's nice. YouTube allowed people to have a voice and a platform to express their voice. And that's what it was. It was just like, hey, what does this person think, and all that, and all the money came in. Everybody's got their big business out there. It just, I mean, if you can look past it and you can see, hey, I really like this quiet video, or noisy, whatever your style is, but just this, I'm absorbing this. That's it. There's no one selling me anything. There's no sponsor breaks. There's no commitments, requirements, restrictions, limitations, any of that. Just somebody is saying what they want to say. And, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, it's you had an opportunity to get that. I mean, that's why podcasting has become such a big thing.
Yep.
I don't watch a lot of those.
Yeah, hey, Sauce didn't like the new Batman. He said it was just okay.
I haven't watched it because
me neither.
Duke and Chris said it was like 3 hours long or something.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? When it comes to those DC movies, like everybody's like, "Oh, this is the one. This is the good one," and then you watch it, it's like,
well, that's the thing though. Is every year it's like, "Oh no, this one's the new one. Oh, this one's the new. Oh, this one's the new one." Yeah. But they just keep getting more serious.
Yeah, I do like the car thing, but I when it comes to me, like when I'm like sitting there and it's on the streaming service and I don't have to do anything, that's when I'll watch it. But right now, for me to go out of my way to see it, I'm not in any hurry.
Spoiler: it's a Batman movie. Batman does Batman things.
I hear Batman's in it. That's what I hear.
It's got a cape.
So if you were going to watch Batman, would you watch it on a exploding phone?
Might have to.
That was my segue into exploding phones, which
kaboom! Should have had an explosion sound effect. Where's the production value? Where's the committee?
It's gone. It's gone. Rest in peace.
Nowadays, DC makes great meth movies.
Meth? No, meh. Not meth.
Meth movies.
That was the llama making that comment for anyone listening. Just listening. All right.
Yeah. So, a few years ago, my wife and I switched over to the smartphone. We were late adopters, as many of you know. And we got our phones at the same time. We got the same model. Just make it easy. And we're using them. And then a little bit soundboard.
Soundboard is dead. It's gone. Rest in peace.
Kevin buried it with the mouse.
Yeah, that's right. It died in my ceiling with the mouse.
Go back to the beginning to listen to that part. A while ago, my wife's phone started acting funny. She said, it would just shut down. Things wouldn't respond properly. Just weird things happening. Something's going on with my phone. And she uses it a lot for work, for PTA stuff. And she got a lot of stuff going on that phone. Started acting funny. So she's like, all right, I got to go get a new phone. So she went out, was looking at stuff. And then she realized along the way that the phone, it was expanding. Like the screen was separating from the case. Yeah. And apparently that happens when the battery goes bad and just starts to swell up. And if you are very unlucky, it leaks and there's gas and all sorts of stuff coming out of there. So she had to go get a new phone. I was like, I don't know. You must have dropped yours or something. Mine is fine. We had the same model. We got it at the same time. And she got her new phone for like a month or so. I'm still using my old phone. And then I lay it down and I'm doing something. I look at it from the side and I see this little gleam of light bleeding out from the edge. I'm like, oh my goodness, mine's doing the same thing. It just started swelling up, which sounds like your washer technology. It's it's been a couple of years, time to buy a new one.
That's right.
These things got to go. So I had to go replace my phone before it exploded, and I forgot to bring it with me, so I can't even talk about it.
What kind of phone was the one that exploded?
Yeah, it was a phone. I don't know. It was an Android. It was something called an Aquos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know those guys. What'd you get this time?
Phone. I don't know. It's another Android phone. I literally went into the store and tried to do it as quickly as possible because I just didn't care. As long as my phone can play YouTube videos so I can look up tutorials, and if I can make it play Star Trek sounds, then I'm happy.
Nice. I'm still rocking my Samsung S7, which I believe I got in 2017. I think I got it in 2017. So it's getting on 5 years, and I just watched the video. I think I looked up something about my phone. So then YouTube's like, oh, you like everything about the S7. Here's another video about the S7. And it was this kid who, he might have been like 19, and he's doing this video about how he had an S7 when he was a child. And going back to it today, it's really rough. Like if you're looking to get an S7 today, I wouldn't recommend it because it's really slow, and you're just not going to be happy with it. And I'm like,
that was the conversation I had when I was at the store. Is there's a couple different phones there. I'm looking at them, is like, all right, there's this one, and then there's this one, and then there's this one that's like half the price. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? And he's like, well, if you want the top of the line, if speed's really important to you, if you're doing a lot of online, a lot of gaming on your phone, I'm using it as a phone.
Yeah,
I don't care. The one that I picked on the display, the display on the shelf, they had it advertised as it's like senior friendly because you can change the display so that everything's really big.
Oh, nice.
And you have like just the 5 basic things you would do.
I actually need
on one
that.
screen.
I need that in case I'm not close to my glasses. Then
So like
that would come
I
in
don't
handy.
care about, that, going to the 19-year-old kid doing the review. I realized that years ago, and I had to stop watching a lot of those reviews because basically anytime somebody would do a review, they're always comparing the phone to the best of the best.
Yeah.
Just because there exists some elite gaming PC that is light years beyond what you need for a day-to-day PC, they're always like, "Oh, this is garbage because it can't do everything that this amazing computer can do."
Yeah.
And
Well, a lot of those
it's
videos.
so hard to judge what someone's real opinion is because they're just always looking at the top.
Yeah, a lot of those videos are for gearheads, right? Like they're for the early adopters and people who want the best.
Yeah.
So say they got the best.
Which I get, like if you're into the technology and you're really interested in what it can do and you actually do utilize that in some way, it would make a difference for your situation. That's one thing. But
Yeah. Nah, most people don't do the things like that. See, that's why Apple is so good with their marketing, right? Because Apple doesn't take the phone and say, this Apple phone is the best Apple phone. It has the fastest processor. It has the best screen. It has, thing. What they do is they show you what you can do with the phone. They show you, oh, look, you can, if you want to make a video, and, like a 4K style film, you can do that with this phone. If you want to FaceTime with your friend who is on the top of the mountain and you're in the Jeep at the bottom of the hill, you can do that, whatever it is. Like they just, if you're out there in the wilderness and you need to find your location and that, you can do it with this Apple phone. And that's how they market these things, right?
yeah,
They
well,
don't,
their marketing every time I see a commercial is people dancing and enjoying
yeah,
product
that's
and
right. They're having
colors
fun.
and movement,
Yeah.
and that appeals to the young people.
That's right. Like Coke. Coke was the same thing, right? They show what they didn't show you a guy sitting there with a Coke and a Pepsi and he's, watching the football game. Which one are you going to drink? Oh, I'm going to drink the Coke because the Coke is better than the Pepsi. No, they show people out on the beach. They're running around on the beach
Oh
with the
yeah, spiking volleyballs and all that.
spiking volleyballs, having a
That's
good
all you got
time.
to do to sell a product. Have people
Yeah.
spiking volleyballs.
Yeah, and they're having a great time because they drink Coke.
Yep.
I kind of want a Coke now. So,
I haven't had a Coke in a very long time.
me neither. Very long time.
What are you drinking out of that thing anyway?
Whiskey.
Look at that! I can't. It looks just like a soda bottle. It's got the little feet on the bottom and all that. Where'd you get that?
I think I got it at Canadian Tire, but it's for like walking. You're on your walk, right?
It's like titanium.
And then if anyone comes and attack you, if a bear comes and attack you, you have a weapon.
I'm sure you'd stop a bear with that. Wouldn't displease him at all.
Care Bear, something.
That's a YouTube video right there.
How to fight off a bear.
How to fight a Care Bear.
So you've been taking advantage of the Epic Games lately?
Well, I always download their freebies. And I'm also a procrastinator. There's a lot of times that I see games that are relatively inexpensive on other sites, Steam, GOG, and a lot. And they'll have sales, and then they get even cheaper. I'm like, ooh, $5, not bad. I was like, oh, maybe someday it'll be $4. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
And then Epic comes along and they give you that stuff for free. So it makes it very difficult for me to buy some of these older games thinking that it might be free someday. Yeah. And sure enough, last week, Epic gave away the entire BioShock series, which I had not bought. And I was thinking of revisiting that first game because I did enjoy that on the 360 back in the day.
Yeah.
And it's been long enough that I kind of want to go back to it.
Well, those BioShock games that they gave away, they're not just them old BioShock games. No. They're the remastered ones with the updated textures and whatnot.
All the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
And there's 3 of them, right? BioShock 2 and
Infinite.
BioShock in the Sky.
Infinite. Like I think. Yep. I think it's Infinite. And there's some DLC, I believe. I think the
I think all of that is
and
included. It was the launch on Epic. They didn't have it before, so they gave it all away for free for the first week. And then yesterday I checked it out, and they got one of those Castlevania games, not Castlevania, Wolfenstein games.
Oh,
one of them, First Order, New Order, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So some of these games that are, more than a few years old now, but if you never bought them like me, you get them for free.
Well, Sarah and I have been on the fence a few times about picking up Borderlands 3. And we're like, should we get it? I don't know. It's, $20, $40 for the 2 copies. And then 2 weeks ago, I think they gave it away for free. We're like, damn.
I already forgot about that one.
Damn. And it was great because the thing we were concerned about is that whether or not it was going to run on her computer because, her stuff's a little bit old, but it ran fine. It was awesome.
There you go.
There you go.
Epic Games takes care of you. If you can wait 5 to 10 years after the game comes out.
I think that game came out in 2018. So, 4 years. That's pretty good.
I mean, I haven't bought a game in a while. Occasionally I do pick up something on Steam or GOG, but the way you just get free games just by waiting around, and as often as I actually sit down to play them, I'm basically just being overloaded with free games on these sites. So
I mean, I had on the Xbox, they were giving away not giving away, but they had a discount for $1. You can get 3 months of their ultimate package, which is like all the Game Pass games on the Xbox and all the Game Pass games on the PC, plus the gold subscription. So you get a couple of extra games in there for $1 for 3 months. And then I was looking up, there's a way you can do an exploit where you get, if you buy just gold, right? If you buy a year's subscription to gold, you can go to a website and you can get like a code for a year's subscription of Xbox Gold for $70. That'll give you 12 months worth. And then you can actually stack that up 3 times. So like or was it $60? I think it was $60. For $180 for 3 years, if you stack all those up on your Xbox and then you do that $1 deal, it'll upgrade all of your subscription from gold to the Game Pass, the ultimate Game Pass, for the entire 3 years. So for $180, something that would normally cost you $17.99 a month, you could get 3 years worth. And I was on the fence. I was considering doing it. And then I'm like, you know what? I got so many games. I really don't need this thing. And then I thought I'll just get the one for $1 for 3 months. And I'm like, I even talked myself out of that. You know what? I'm going to save myself $1 because I already got too many games.
You got way more than you will ever play. What you have physically on your shelf alone is more than you will ever play. Even though you have scaled back dramatically, I know.
Yeah.
You've got enough. And you're just going to play your favorites over and over again. You're going to pop in Super Metroid once in a while.
Well, I've been enjoying the racing games lately. I've been getting back into that. I've actually fired up my PlayStation 4, if you can believe that, to play Gran Turismo Sport, because that was given away at some point. I got that on the hard drive for some reason. And I started to play that, and it's cool because you can play. They got a little thing in there that where if you play it, like there's a certain amount of miles that you have to travel, while you're driving, and if you add up your races and it adds up to that certain level, you get a free car, but you can only do it once a day. And you go on there, it takes you about a half an hour. You do a couple of races, and you get a free car. And we'll go the next day, do a few races, and you get a free car. And I'm just enjoying that. I get my free car, and then I stop. I'm like, okay, that's enough for today. It's kind of like Wordle. You just play the one game, and then that's it. You give yourself a break for a whole day. Get back. I know you're your eyes are like, Wordle. I don't like that because
No,
everybody Wordle.
it's not. I don't like it. I honestly have no idea what it is. All I ever see are those little postings on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I have never looked into it. I have no idea what it is. Every time I see that, though, I just think of Wesley Crusher looking around the Enterprise when everybody's doing that game where they got to put the ball in the hole.
Yes.
And then when I saw these people doing that, and then when I saw you post one for the first time, I'm like, that's when Wesley went to Picard and tried to say, look, sorry, you got to do something about this.
I got Sauce. Sauce is on the world. You too. Sauce is way more on the world than I am. So what you do, it's just a game. It's in your browser, on your phone, and
don't even tell me. Don't even tell me. I don't want to know.
Just don't, man. Listen to this. Okay, so like if you haven't played Wordle today, don't look because I'm gonna show Richard how to play Wordle.
I don't want to know. I don't want this.
It's just a word game like that.
Okay.
Get it focused. And then you type in a word up top. I like to start. My starting strategy is the word arouse because you got your A, your R, your O, and your S and your E. Very popular words. And then it tells you what you got right. Like what words in there are right. And then you got to figure it out. So it's just a little puzzle game. There's no ads or anything like that. It doesn't ask you for that. And then once it's done, that's it. You're done.
Right.
Go on and do something else.
Good for you. I put the kibosh on all those little
just because it's popular.
Games.
It's popular.
No, because
like it.
No. I have no problem if you sit down and you play a game, whatever it is. Go ahead, but phone games in particular, any of those little time killer, like I'm going to sit here and do this for 5 minutes, whatever. I'd rather have that 5 minutes to just do something else.
Well, I get up in the morning and I just look at the Wordle with my cup of coffee. And sometimes I get it in like 2 seconds. And if I get it in 2 seconds, then I go read some blogs. But if not, then, that's it.
More for you.
It's good. It's
enjoy it.
They figured out the formula because if they made it where you could just continuously play it, you get bored of it, right? But they just give you that little taste once a day. Go in there once a day.
So why does everybody keep posting about it on Twitter? Is that an automatic thing?
No.
Then why does everybody constantly post?
Because then you can just
something.
It's like a leaderboard or something. You can just judge, how well you did by how other see, Sauce does it while he walks his dog. That's a nice dog, by the way. I saw
yes.
Very
good point.
You did a good job,
right?
You did a good job there.
I see all the glamour shots on Instagram.
Yeah, but that's all. Like I just, when I see that I've done worse than Rocket Sauce, I don't post. I'm like, I'm not posting that. I did worse than Sauce. But if I do better, damn right I post. Then I got a couple other ones too. I got a movie one where it just shows you a frame from a movie and you have to guess the movie. That one's pretty fun. And then another one where it shows you like a second of the movie and you got to guess what it is within a second. What is this? And it condenses the entire movie into a second. So you're just getting like these images flashed and it's done. That's good. It's fun. I'm having fun, Richard. Let me have some fun.
Go ahead.
Damn it.
Enjoy it.
Okay, let's go on.
Speaking of movies, I was going to segue.
We got 30 minutes here. I hear Sarah's clanging away in the kitchen there, so we better move.
This isn't on my list, but I just watched The Human Tornado again the other day, which is one of those Rudy Ray Moore movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one that Ernie Hudson is in. And the weirdest thing is it was 1976, so a very young Ernie Hudson.
Yeah.
In the movie, he looks so tall. Like he's got really long arms and legs, and he was in like really good shape. He looks so tall in that movie. But then when I see him in Ghostbusters in the publicity shots and stuff, he looks like the shortest one.
I think
you ever see like there's that shot of like all of they're like leaning on the Ecto One, and Ernie Hudson just looks like
they're
small.
They're all fairly tall. They were all
that was going to be my question. People. Like how tall? Harold Ramis looks very tall.
Yeah, like
how tall are Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray?
Well, you remember Dan Aykroyd from the Blues Brothers, right? He was the lanky, tall one, right?
Yeah, I get it's when you see them when they're younger and a little thinner.
Yeah,
they you can see the lankiness, but now everybody's all pudgy and round.
Yeah, they're probably a little shorter today than they were back then.
Yeah, Ghostbusters are tall.
Yeah,
no,
I don't know if he's short in Oz. I still haven't watched Oz. I need to get started on that series, but so many other series are happening. All right, let's go. What's Raid Harder?
I finally watched Raid 2, Raid Harder.
Oh, really? I gotta watch that too.
You haven't seen it?
No, I have it. It's just Sarah doesn't.
Yeah, I bought the collection 1 and 2 on one set.
So
I was so excited.
How is it?
Well, I watched the Raid, which I've seen a couple times, and it was still very entertaining. Really like that movie. It's a fun action movie. Some of the shaky cam affects the old man in me, though. There's a couple of shots I wish they had just held that camera a little tighter. But still a fun movie. So I was really excited. Turned on the Raid 2. Like, all right, I'm going to finally watch this. Sucks.
Yeah, I heard it's not very good.
It's not very good, no.
I think Creepy Josh told me that it's not very good.
Yeah, and I was surprised because I was like, man, I thought I heard good reviews on this. And I looked it up, and a lot of people really like it. It's like ranked just as high as the first one because they're ranking the action, and there are a couple of decent fight scenes in there. Story-wise, it's all over the place, and it's friggin' long, too. It's like 2.5 hours for an action movie.
Yeah. That sounds like
basically the Raid came out, and then I think the sequel came out 2 to 3 years later.
And
it really feels like it was the same filmmaker, same writer, director guy. And it felt like, hey, I'm going to make this movie about, cops breaking into a building and fighting the bad guys. And then I'm going to make this crime mafia movie. Oh, this movie did really, really well. Everybody likes this Raid movie.
Yes.
Yeah, the first one. Okay, this mafia movie I was going to make, let's just make that a sequel. We'll just force that character into it and rewrite it, and we'll include him, and we'll call it the Raid 2, and that'll help us sell it. Because it really feels like it was just a completely different movie that his character was just tacked onto. There are a couple of brief cameos from a couple of people from the first movie.
Yeah.
And some that at least one that they couldn't get back. So it's just clearly a body double because they never show the guy's face. And then it turns into this whole crime syndicate. He's undercover, like trying to get information on this thing, and is all about this son and his father. And I don't like the way the business is going. We got to do this. And then it's just so convoluted. His character is completely lost in it. It lacks that first movie was just pure energy, simple situation.
Yeah.
Good guys, bad guys, stuck in the building. What do we do? There's a reason why things like Die Hard and Predator and lots of good movies, like action movies, they follow like a simple premise where you get into the trouble, and you don't get out of the trouble until the end of the movie. And that's what helps keep the tension around. When Kevin Bacon gets involved with the tremors, they're stuck with those tremors the whole movie. And it's only until the very end that they're out of it. John McClane gets in Nakatomi Plaza. He doesn't get out until the end. It's always like, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And that's the Raid had that. But now this second one is, okay, there's trouble. Okay, now things are fine.
Yeah.
And then more things are happening. We're talking over here. We're having a meeting. Introduce new characters. Okay, now there's a problem. Now there's a fight. Oh, that's finished. Now it's a couple days later. It's just kind of like the energy just dips, and then you get bored because the movie is just so convoluted. I do not recommend it.
Sauce says he's never heard of this movie. We've talked about The Raid a lot.
We Fandangoed The Raid.
Yeah. So go back in the archives and look that up.
How dare you, Sauce?
So
stop spending so much time with your dog and listen to our old episodes.
I find that there's quite a few Asian movies that do that with their sequels.
Oh, Asian movies, huh? I'm talking about Asian movies, racist.
East Asian movies that do that. I could say I'm not. Look,
is that what they say in Scarborough?
Don't make me get all Archie Bunker on you. Okay, no. I find that a lot of the sequels from the Hong Kong community and the surrounding area do that with their sequels, and I think it's part of it has to do with appealing to different markets, because sometimes the first movie didn't make it to some markets, so they only like loosely connect their sequels to the first movie. Like, for instance, a lot of Jackie Chan movies are called police story movies. Like, there's like Police Story 1 and Police Story 2. Those two are pretty much connected. But once you get to like 3 and 4 and Super Cop and First Strike, like the character, like the Jackie Chan character in those movies has a name. I can't remember it. But then in some other instances, he's just named Jackie. They call him Jackie, even though he's like the same character from the other movie. There'll be like a consistent character, like Uncle Bill is in all the movies, but every time he run, like they don't really refer to like stuff that they've done in the past or anything like that. It's all just like kind of loosely connected. So depending on which market it goes into, right? Like, for instance, if they want to break into the American market and it's the latest movie, they're not going to introduce the Americans to Police Story 3. So they'll call it Super Cop. And then all of a sudden, Super Cop becomes a hit in the United States. Well, you can't go with the next movie and call it Police Story 4. You call it Super Cop 2. And then, but over in Hong Kong, it'll be called Police Story 4 or whatever. Then it gets like even more complicated when they'll do like a spin-off character, like Michelle Yeoh. Her character spun off into, I can't remember the name of her series, but in some areas, they'll call her movie Police Story 5. But then in other territories, it's called something else. And then you watch the movie because you're like, I want to watch all the police cop movie or Police Story movies. And you watch it and it's got nothing to do with any of the other films. But they marketed it. They wanted it like, anyways.
Yeah, I think Sauce picked up on that too.
Did
I really want to see a movie called Police Cop.
Police Story. I'm very tired. Okay, I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's 6 p.m. here now. Dang it! Leave me alone. All right, keep going. Beavis and Butthead. Do the universe. What is this? I saw a image, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. What is it?
New movie. Trailer just came out yesterday. I watched it last night. I was like, "Oh, Beavis and Butthead," and they're young Beavis and Butthead. I get the impression that they're doing a little sci-fi thing to bring them to 2020 and still have them be teenagers. And now they have access to smartphones and modern day technology. And they're wearing Metallica AC/DC again. They got the rights for the music, so. It's going to be one of those Paramount Plus things. So whoever has that, you get to enjoy it later this month. I will sight unseen. Well, I did watch the trailer, but I will pick up the Blu-ray. Regardless of reviews.
Yeah. Well, you remember when they brought the show back, right? Do you watch the?
I bought it. I have the DVD of it, and I've never opened it.
You should watch it. It was fun. I remember it.
I heard that there's some good moments in it, and the one thing I remember about it most is that on the cover they do not have the.
I think they did in the show.
T-shirts.
I think they do in the show. That might be just on the cover. It
was one of those things like when they did print material for a lot of Beavis and Butthead stuff. They had different Krull, Death Rock, something like that.
Yeah, because they just didn't have the rights. By the way, speaking of that. I just picked up the Wonder Years
Hey, I saw that on your Insto Twitter.
So this
is that DVD?
Yeah, so this came out like in 2014. It's been on my want list for a long time. It finally got a price drop, and you want to get this DVD because anytime the show is on the Netflix or the streaming services, they strip all the music out of it. And if anyone knows anything about the Wonder Years, it's kind of like WKRP, where the music is almost like an unsung character. It's like another character in the show because it sets the time, like just sets the mood and stuff. And
there was. Sorry.
They replace a lot of the music with just generic music, not even other licensed music. Just so on this DVD, this series, they painstakingly went through and got the rights to everything that they possibly can. There's only like 14 instances where they couldn't get the music, but a lot of those songs were like played twice, so it's really it's like less than 10 times that where they couldn't get the rights to the music. For some reason they couldn't get the rights to the Doors, which, I mean, those guys are whoring out their music left, right, and center all over the place. I don't know why they couldn't get the rights to that one, but yeah,
so they wanted too much,
I guess so.
But yeah, that was one of those shows that it took forever for it to get to home media because of all the licensing issues. Batman, the original Adam Westburt Ward, that was like a whole licensing thing that wasn't on DVD or anything for a long time. Perfect Strangers, again with music.
Yeah, because if any of you young listeners might not know, but back in the day, there were no DVDs or VHSs or that. And there might have been VHS, but they weren't putting out too many shows on VHS. It was too, like, only certain shows would be put out on VHS, like Star Trek. But
or they would put out, like, you'd get a very small number.
Yeah,
you'd get a VHS with one episode.
Yeah, or they would do, like, if it was like a cartoon, you might get like 3 random episodes or something on a.
Yeah, you never got the complete set.
But at the time, they would work out the deals for, the original broadcast and then syndication, and then that was it. And they never made. Now they make them, but back in the day, they had to renegotiate for the rights to put the stuff onto home video, and a lot of the older shows is just not worth it because the money's not there, right? Music stripped for the DVD of Married with Children. Asked Rocket Sauce. Yes, the theme song.
Really?
Yeah, they couldn't get the Sinatra's "Love and Marriage" for the theme song.
So what does it sound like?
I don't know. I've never.
Is it just silence?
No. They it's another song. You could probably find it on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad you mentioned that because I've always thought of getting that box set.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the DVDs. It's definitely on the streaming services. I saw people complaining about that on the streaming service.
Because I would just freak out if I bought like the whole DVD set or something and then put it on and didn't get to hear that song.
But yeah, when they got the rights to broadcast, like Sauce was saying, in syndication, it's there. When they got the rights for broadcasting, at the time, syndication would be part of the deal because that was a huge part of the money. Like, reruns weren't a big thing until like the 1970s and 80s. Like 80s is where like real syndication money started happening because there was all these cable channels that started popping up and they needed time to fill. But back in the day, I remember, like, you wouldn't see a show in syndication, like a primetime show wouldn't come on. We call them reruns, syndication, but they wouldn't come on in reruns until the show was done. The show would have to be like canceled, and then they would bring them back and play them during the day, because the thought was if you aired the show throughout the day, then people would be tired of it and wouldn't watch it in primetime. But it actually, those shows airing in syndication became advertisements for the show. Like, people would get hooked on the show who wouldn't watch it normally or whatever. And then it actually improved the ratings of the primetime show.
I used to watch The Simpsons like 3 times a day because they would just play it so often.
Yep, for sure. All right, what is Out of This World?
That's the sitcom we were talking about last time.
Oh,
The
right,
one
yeah.
that I wanted to know because you said you were looking for the DVD. If you,
No, I know.
I'm guessing really expensive.
I actually didn't look for it. I thought
Hmm.
about it, but I forgot all about it.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint you. But it definitely
understand.
was Burt Reynolds on that show that did the voice of whatever entity, the husband, I guess,
The
right?
father, yeah.
The father is back home on the home planet, and they're on Earth for some
Something.
reason.
It doesn't really make a whole. They never explain anything. I did watch a couple episodes of it. I just kind of kept it on, and it's kind of a cheapo sitcom. Like you kind of
Big
understand
time, yeah.
why some people never heard of it, and it's kind of. I was wondering because I remember her freezing time. I was like, how are they going to work this into every single episode? How are they going to make it where like there has to be some situation for her to freeze time, and they have to make it funny every episode. They very quickly, like 3 or 4 episodes in, say, "Oh, I'm developing new powers. Now I can do this. Now I can do that." Just to
Yeah.
give more scenarios.
Well, that was a problem on a lot of old shows, right? Like Knight Rider. How are we going to work the car in on this? And,
Yeah,
you know,
Night Boat.
yeah, exactly. Every week it's another
Every
inlet.
week there's another fjord. But
uh,
I'd say the writing on the show is really sloppy, and you know, there's one episode where it ends like she was abusing her powers to the point that her father stripped her of her powers, and
oh,
her mother didn't believe her, and she thought she did something she didn't. She's like, "I don't believe you. You better freeze time right now." And then she takes a thing of spaghetti and is going to dump it over her head. She's like, "You better freeze time. I don't believe you. You have your powers." Oh no! Now she has spaghetti on her head.
that's funny. That's sitcom
It's a
gold.
little cheap, but I'd say the ideas behind the episodes are actually pretty interesting. The first couple, it's like she develops her powers. The next episode is her abusing her powers, and like cheating at school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next episode is her having nightmares because she's afraid of what she's going to become when she gets older, being half alien. And she goes to a therapist who is played by Norman Fell.
Oh,
And they confess that she's an alien, and because it's all confidential and everything.
right.
So
Norman
a couple
Fell
of
was on.
interesting, like they're going with like deeper ideas, but it's very sloppy writing, and then it just gets wacky scenario of the week.
So Norman Fell was he a regular on the show?
No, like special guest star.
Okay, yeah, because he did a show with Burt Reynolds called Dan August back in the '60s, I think. But yeah, one of the showrunners on that show was a friend of Burt Reynolds. They actually worked on a lot of TV projects, like behind the scenes kind of thing, like worked on developing shows and stuff. And so that's how he got roped into doing that.
Well, it's not a bad gig. He doesn't have to put his name on the show, and he records, 2 minutes of dialogue.
He probably went in 2 maybe afternoons and did the dialogue for the entire season. And get your paycheck and off you go.
There you go.
Yep. Okay, well, for me, I've been watching The Orville, and we got all caught up. We watched all of season 1 and season 2, and the new season started last night. So everything was fresh in our minds, and we were ready to go, ready to watch this show. And Seth MacFarlane was all over the place yesterday promoting the new Orville, and he was saying, the reason why the show it's taken them quite a while. Like the previous season was in 2018. Here we are in 2022.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, is this COVID?
Well, he said that was part of it, but it's not the only reason why the show has been delayed. The other reason is like these are like every episode is like a mini movie. We went out of our way to make a mini movie for all these. And I, as much as I love season 1 and season 2 of the Orville, the show, compared to the amount of money that Paramount puts into a Star Trek, it does look a little bit cheap. They improved in the second season greatly, actually. Like a lot of, like, remember that I was saying like those IKEA tables and Formica and, you know, like just stuff kind of looked cheap, and they really updated the ship for the second season, but still kind of felt like a little cheap. Like their runabout, you know, their shuttlecraft, like it's got like 6 chairs in it, and they're gamer chairs. You know, like they're not, you know, it looks really, it's cheap. It just looks cheap. For this episode, you know, last night on the Hulu, hype was built a little bit for me as I went in, and I'm like, I'm expecting, you know, caliber, but then I'm kind of thinking this is Hulu, by the way, too, so I don't know how much of a budget they're going to have. And the episode starts up, and they're retrofitting the Orville, the ship, giving it like a whole new polished look, kind of like they did for the movie, for the motion picture, right? Star Trek, the motion picture, when they brought the Enterprise up, it was like a big upgrade for the big, and it looks fantastic. It looks great. It starts off with a big star battle, you know, shooting pew 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 and stuff, and the, you know, CG has improved greatly, and just the look of the ship, everything just looks really nice and slick, and I was really impressed with it. It lived up to the hype. It matched the hype for a change. And, you know, the show's still very well written. You know, the characters have their problems, you know, but they try to work with each other. There is a friction between a couple of, you know, members of the thing, but they all have their reasons. You know, it's not just like, you know, and they're not yelling at each other all the time. You know, like if they get into a thing, they'll talk with things, and even if they don't come, you know, to an agreement at the end, they'll just walk away and say, well, you know, you stay on your side and I'll stay on my side, and we'll just stay away from each other. It's not like, you know, so many shows today, they're just everybody's yelling at each other, screaming. Yes. So it's good. I've, you know, it was an hour and 10 minutes, the opening, and it's restored my faith in that at least somebody out there can still write adventure science fiction shows out there that are enjoyable, because there's so much crap by some big name.
Well, with most things, you know, you got the spearhead that is the big studio, like, hey, this is going to appeal to everybody. Look at this, it's in your face, and that. And then you look a little bit back to the smaller independent. It's like, hey, that's pretty good right there.
Yeah, you missed it, Steven. We already talked about Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, old news, Steven.
Yeah, that's so 5 minutes ago. It's ridiculous.
But back to Beavis and Butthead, though. Like I said, in that trailer, they're the young Beavis and Butthead, and I know a while back there was some concept art out there by Mike Judge saying he's doing the older Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
And now I remember he said like there's going to be a couple of movies and things, so who knows? Maybe this leads into that. I don't know. Little twist ending. Who knows? I'm all for Beavis and Butthead. More stuff.
So, loving the Orville. Sarah and I both gave it our seal of approval. Struggling to get through that silly Strange New Worlds, the new Star Trek show.
I thought you were liking that one.
I liked the first one. There was parts of it that I liked, but then, you know, I'm hoping that it's just first season stuff that they got to work through, but I'm not digging any of the characters. Like, they're not. It's kind of like you were saying about the Raid 2, where there would be like this action stuff, and then all of a sudden, like they'll be in a situation, right, where it's like they're being attacked, you know, and they're all running around the ship and all this stuff, and we got to do this and got to do that and got to do this, and then you know, everybody would leave the room except the captain and one person. The captain would turn to the one person and say, "Hey, are you okay? You doing okay? Let's talk. Let's do the mental health check and all that." And you're like, aren't they like supposed to be like, you know, they're in it right now? They like, time is of the essence right now, isn't like? And it's kind of like what you were saying with that Raid 2, where it's just like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that it depends on the obviously depends on the story, the situation, whatever. It's just if it's supposed to be a tense moment and you're in that tension, you got to keep that. You can't start talking about Care Bears or whatever.
Right. That's what I mean. It's not like as if, like that they hid behind a planet and like, okay, we got a couple hours here to chill, right? Because they're not going to find us for a couple hours. So you could chill. It's like, no, they're like right in it. And it's like they're talking. It's really weird. Hey, Deke.
Hey.
And Sarah says I got 10 minutes. So
dinner time.
The true Star Trek story all along. Yes, that is.
Empire Strikes Back is like that. That whole movie is, we're in trouble. They have their moments
roller coaster
when they're hiding, and then, oh no, we're inside a worm. Okay, we're safe here at Cloud City. But I don't trust Lando. Something's going on. They never escape that tension until the end of the movie.
Yeah, and that's why everybody loves it. Because they're able to keep that going.
Yes.
Like, can you imagine if they were like flying around the asteroids and Han Solo just like turns to Chewie and says, hey, you doing?
How you doing on your Wordle, Chewie?
Mental health check time. Like just want to make sure you're okay. It's like, what? Come on. Well, speaking of Star Wars, I was
what?
I'd love to get your opinion on the new Star Wars show, Richard. How are you finding Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Is that out now?
Is that out? Oh my goodness. Such a surprise. I had no desire to see this show because I'm done with Star Trek or Star Wars. I'm out. That might have been a Freudian slip there because I might be done with Star Trek too, but jury's still out on Strange New Worlds. But I'm done with Star Wars. But I was at work and they asked for episode 3 of the new Obi-Wan show.
Episode 3? When did this show come out?
I don't know. I'm guessing 2 weeks ago, and we're on the third week. Or maybe the first 2 episodes came. I don't know. They asked for episode 3. Now, I had not seen episode 1. I had not seen episode 2, but they asked for episode 3, and I said to myself, well, maybe I'll just take a look at this show and see how it's going. Because a lot of people are saying they're liking it. They're digging it. So let me see what this show is. So I get the recording going, and I start playing. I turn everything off there, and I'm watching the recap at the beginning. They're going to give me a little recap of what's happening in episode 1 and 2. So it's all about Obi-Wan. I didn't even know Ewan McGregor was in it. He's back playing.
That's what I know is Ewan McGregor and
Darth Vader's in it too. It's
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, he's playing it. So given the recap, what's happening in that, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, he's doing his thing and all that, and then there's a little kid. There's a kid. I'm like, oh, here we go. Kid starts rapping off like the one-liners, like Obi-Wan can't do anything right. The kid is smarter than the, and this kid, like generally when that stuff
it's not happens, little Luke, is it?
Don't get ahead of me, Richard.
I mean, there's only one kid I can think of.
You do not get ahead of me. So this little kid, the kid's not even like, generally when they do that, the kid's like 10, maybe 11, 12. I don't know how old this kid is, but it seems to me that the kid's like 5 or 6, like really young. Spewing out the one-liners. And I kind of like had to focus a little bit on this thing because I'm looking and I'm like, this kid is Leia, isn't it? It's Princess Leia, isn't it? Because she's just like, all the things like as if it's like adult Leia, like they just found her again on the. I'm like, oh, this can't be true. So I go online, I check on the internet, and of course, half the Star Wars people are praising baby Leia, and the other half are saying how terrible baby Leia is. I could not even get through the recap. I just turned it off and I went and did something else. It was so
baby Leia. Is this because Baby Yoda is popular?
I don't know, man, but it was the worst thing I have ever seen Star Wars do, and I've seen Star Wars do Jar Jar Binks. So cringy. I cringed. I'm like, come on, seriously? Like, she just Princess Leia popped out of the womb, and she was just had all that attitude, and like I got like my niece, my sister's kid. She's like, a young Princess Leia. She's got tude, right? Like, she's just like, nobody's gonna tell her anything, but she's not like I can like keep up with the quips and everybody's so dumb and I'm so smart and I'm gonna tell Obi-Wan Kenobi what to do. Like, it was just a total turnoff.
Oh, this makes sense because at the beginning of the Star Wars, she was asking Obi-Wan for help because she's got the history with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Not because she just heard his name, like,
that's what was
hey,
implied.
My dad said this guy is someone who can help you.
You're my only hope. That's what was implied in the movie, is that her father told her, like, if you get in trouble, get Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And then they never actually share a scene together in A New Hope. So.
The Star Wars Christmas special, Mama, has charm.
And
I would take the charm.
That makes it make more sense why they named their son Kylo Plune Ben, right? Remember the Kylo?
I assume that was
named Ben.
Yeah, after Ben Kenobi, right?
Right, because Leia and Obi-Wan Kenobi are best friends now. That's why she would name her son Ben, and not Luke naming his son Ben.
Right. Yes,
now it makes sense. They fixed it.
We talked about me playing Gran Turismo. Go back again, Steven.
Kevin's watching Star Wars. He's playing video games.
Yeah.
He's drinking Coca-Cola.
No, Deke's got it right. I am cranking up the Max Webster for sure. I'm enjoying that. Go check that out on CanadianGrooves.ca. Writing up that review. It's good times. By the way, did you always know that it was Obi-Wan, like I don't know how to spell it. Obi-Wan, W-A-N. O-B-I-W-A-N. When I was a kid, I always thought they were saying like O, B, and then the number 1. Obi-Wan.
No, that's dumb.
That's what I thought.
He's not a robot.
I thought they were saying Obi-Wan. Well,
C-3PO, Obi-Wan.
They all had weird names in Star Wars. The only one that had a normal name was Luke. Everyone else had like Han, Leia, Obi-Wan.
Well, I guess you've never gone to the toy store and looked at all the merchandise where the names would be written out there in front of you.
My parents wouldn't take me to the toy store.
Oh,
I was too poor.
They lock you in the ceiling with the mice.
Yeah. Okay. So check out Retro Fandango over on the Twitter. We got a Twitter account there. You might see a posting there. We're at retro_Fandango.
Hypothetically, it might happen.
And check out our Discord. That's always happening. There's always conversations happening there. It's always a good time. There you go. Yeah, you might have identified as a number. I don't know. I was a kid. I thought they were saying Obi-Wan. I don't know. I thought that would maybe I'm alone.
You never saw the club Obi-Wan in Temple of Doom?
No, I only watched Temple of Doom on grainy VHS. I didn't get to see it on the big. I didn't get to see it in the big theater. Same with Star Wars. I only got to see it on the little grainy VHS on the floor model TV. Yeah. Okay, that's it. We're done.
Yep.
Cheap Xbox Online. Yeah, we talked about that too. Come on. give me a topic we haven't talked about.
We covered it all.
Yeah, covered it all.
Washing machines and everything.
Yep. That's it. We did it. We solved some world problems too. I'm sure. I'm sure someone took something that we said and will apply it to some real life scenario. I'm sure it'll happen. Okay. That's it. That's right. Steven says it best. He says this was a banger episode. He hasn't listened to it yet, but he's sure it is a banger episode. State of play from Sony 2. No, we didn't talk about that. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know. Sorry, dude. Okay. That's it. We were losing Richard, so we better wrap it up here. Thank you.
I need some breakfast.
For listening and talking and commenting. We had Sarkasim, we had Sauce, we had the Llama, and we had Steven and Deke, my buddy Deke. I think I am going to crank some Max Webster right now. If I could play some music on here, I'd play some Max Webster for Deke right now.
Oh, you need a soundboard for that.
Yeah.
Or you could just turn on the music behind you.
Well, I could do that. Or I could, put in a video or something. They can do that.
Then we get trouble, licensing issues.
Yeah. All sorts of things.
All right. They would replace it with some other music on our DVD.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.